All right, what is up, everybody? So the word of today is do not buy a car. We're seeing a lot of things come through the car market right now that are very bad for manufacturers, very bad for dealers. And really, we're seeing inventory stock both on the new and the used levels just keep rising and rising and rising. We're even seeing a lot like Dodge, Ram, you're seeing Ford start having their inventory levels on these trucks getting to where they're approaching over 100 days. And that's just a bad sign. And we have something on the horizon that's coming up that should even push these dealers to have to lower prices even further. You've got your 2024s coming out pretty soon, and there are still dealership lots that have brand new 2022s still sitting there, still not selling. So I really think the tides are turning at this point. I'm seeing a lot of it at these dealer auctions. So if you go back and look at some charts from wholesale data from the middle of last summer all through fall and to really the end of the year, we started to see a peak back in the summer of the wholesale pricing, and we started seeing just a big downtrend going throughout fall, throughout winter. And what preceded that, and I've followed this a long time with my channel too, is no sales. And that's what we're starting to see at auctions right now. If you watch the auction video that I had from last week, you'll know that I checked out 9 cars for you guys to get prices on. And I think only 4 of them actually sold in lane. And I went to the auctions this past week, and I went to check out cars for you guys again. And spoiler alert, they didn't sell a whole lot. So we're starting to see a lot of that creep up on us. And this is just something that's going to just, it's going to happen before you start seeing a lot of big just dips in the market, because these dealers, they're reluctant to sell because they just came out of this time period, tax time, where used vehicles were just going through the moon again, and they were able to sell everything. They didn't have to no sell anything. They don't have to put anything on a phone call as these cars roll through the auction, because bidders were just there and they were ready to buy. But now we're seeing bidders get weaker and weaker and weaker. And as that happens, the amount that these cars bring through auction is going to get lower and lower and lower. And these franchise dealers right now, they're not wanting to cut bait on a lot of these cars. And that's why you're seeing a lot of no sales, a lot of if bids come through the system. But it seems like all at once, these franchise dealers, they get tired of looking at this inventory that's sitting on these auction lots, and they're tired of paying no sell fees. They're tired of just having these cars sit there and no sell week after week after week. And finally, they just cut bait with them. They take their medicine. And that's when you're going to start seeing some meaningful downtrends in the wholesale market. And you won't see anything on the retail market because these used car dealers have to do it too. So they are stubborn. They're reluctant. So as the prices start coming down at auction, the used car dealers are still going to want to get a premium for these vehicles, but they're soon going to find out that there's just really no more money in the system. We're even seeing it right now at our lots. We didn't buy a whole lot of cars after we sold out through tax time. And now we've been able to buy quite a few. Alex, my mechanic, goes to a lot of auctions. He's been buying a lot of cars. I've been buying some cars, and we're seeing that we're now getting stacked up. I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. And even we are having a hard time selling cars right now. Talked to my sales manager a lot these last few days, and it seems like people just don't have money. Every phone call they're getting right now, even on cars that we're selling for $2,500, people are asking, do we finance? Can you finance a $2,500 car for me? Because I just don't have the money for it. People are out there hurting right now, and there's no money in the system, and it's starting to take a toll on these dealers. And these floor plans are going to creep up on a lot of these used car dealers. The days of inventory are already starting to creep up on the new car dealers. And the manufacturers, you're not seeing it in their numbers yet because they're actually reporting the sales, because they continue to pump out these vehicles to these dealers. And at some point, the dealers can't take them anymore. And we're seeing that, again, I'll say with Stellantis, we're seeing it with Ford, we're seeing it with Chevy, we're seeing all these trucks, the days of inventory are creeping up. But what we want to do today is actually take some of your questions. That's what I want to do with these live streams. And we see we already have quite a few people in here. So if you want to send us your questions, my wife is here moderating, And she's going to be picking out some questions for me because I'm not going to be able to read and talk at the same time. I can barely walk and breathe at the same time. So,
hello, everyone.
All right, pick me one out, baby.
All right. Since you were just talking about our car lot, there was a question that just came through of how many people do you employ?
We have 6, not including me and you. Is that right? Am I adding correctly? 5. Let's see. Let's go through them. Nate, Tara, Jose, Alex, Andrew. We have 5 and then 7, including me and my wife.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Guys.
Counting's hard. Yeah. So we've had, 3 years ago, we had 11 employees at one time.
Yep.
And wanting to open up 2 lots. And we learned that was too much work and too much stress. And we cut back. So now we have 5, and we have a rock star team, and we're really happy with all the people that we have in the places that they're in. Andrew is our newest member, and he is helping out Alex, and he is coming along great. And we hired him to help me get away from the shop a little bit so I can answer your questions. So next question.
All right. There are a lot of questions about when the prices will go down. That's definitely the most common question that we get. So I'm going to just pick one of them that came through and just kind of sums it up. But there have been a lot of these.
Can you summarize, please? When should I buy, and should I buy used or new? I would always recommend you buy used, unless you just have money to set on fire. Then you can go buy a new car and enjoy it, but you're going to lose so much value if you buy a new car just by signing the paperwork and rolling it off the lot. So after saying that, I would say the longer that you can wait, the better. So we have things that are happening right now in the system. The Fed is trying to crush demand, and it's working. Just like I said at the beginning of this video, inventory is stacking up both on the new and the used car side. So even if you're looking at these used car dealers, there are going to be some dealers that they're going to go out of business through this because demand is so low. Inventory is also very low. So it's keeping prices stubbornly high. And that's just a setup for disaster for dealers that are on floor plans. And a floor plan, if you don't know, is basically just a credit line that a dealer uses to buy a lot of their vehicles. I would guess probably north of 60% of dealers probably use this kind of way to buy their vehicles, and that might be a low estimate. So there are a lot of dealers that actually are very leveraged up on their inventory, and as prices slowly go down and they can't sell them, at some point they get to this area where they're either breaking even or they have to lose money on their cars and they can't buy anymore, and they're tapping their credit. So you're going to start getting deals, I would say, probably towards the end of this year. If I have to put a date on it, I don't want to put a date on it, but if I have to, I would look around December of this year, because you'll get another bump at the end of February, March of next year because of tax time. So I don't like putting a day on it. I would just say wait as long as you can. But if you don't want to wait a year and a half, 2 years or whatever for this market to just slowly bleed out, then I would aim for December if you can. And just as a general rule, no matter what the market is doing, December, January are going to be the best months to be able to buy a car, just because the sales are so slow during that time. So dealers will be trying to actually move vehicles. And if I lean away from the mic and mute or whatever, I'm probably blowing my nose. I have a cold. I'm sorry. You can probably hear it in my nose. So
gross. Okay. I'm curious if HD trucks will come down in price in time. I don't know if you focus on these much.
Yeah, I don't really look at these a lot, especially for our dealership, because I sell stuff $5,000 and under. But now that I'm paying attention more to the market, I'll watch them every once in a while. I'm not. What has to happen for these bigger trucks to go down is construction has to stop. And people having jobs, manual labor, that has to greatly decrease. So when that starts to happen, I follow the housing market a lot, and we're already seeing a downturn in pricing. We're seeing a downturn in just people buying houses. So I really think they haven't really cut back on their building yet, but when a lot of these builders start to get into trouble, and that's probably not too far from now. And the demand for these contractors, the demand for any of these laborers that are working on these houses start to go down. That's when you're going to see these bigger trucks start to really tank. And I wasn't in the car market around 2008, but I talked to a lot of guys that were, and what they said is when construction stopped, I mean, these trucks just took a nosedive, and you could buy them cheaper than just about anything else, because all these guys were trying to get out of these trucks that they owed money on, and they couldn't afford it anymore because they had no work. So that's what you want to look for. You want to look for the labor market to go down, for the trucks to actually take a big hit.
This one's not a question, but it's so good to hear. Memphis, North Mississippi area, a few dealers just started advertising 20% off MSRP for 2023s.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that. Just like I was saying earlier, I mean, 2024s are just around the corner. I went to a Mercedes dealer for that Jeep Cherokee video that I did. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And Mercedes already had some 2024s on their lot. So you're going to start seeing more and more of those get pushed to dealers. And when they do, they're going to have to get the 2023s out. And they're going to want to push the 2023s more than the 24s, because obviously if they've been sitting longer, they're going to have more interest payments that come due on the 2023s. So you'll start seeing some more deals. And look for some 2022s that are still on some dealer lots. I know I went to a Ford dealer not too long ago and saw some, I think they were Escapes, and they were still 2022 sitting on the lot. Oh, gross. You hear that?
Yeah, that's great. All right. So, sorry, I wasn't ready and I was reading comments. I'm so sorry. Okay, here's a good one. Any brands to avoid: Jeep, Kia, and Hyundai?
I think Jeep's way overpriced right now. I know you can negotiate off, especially a lot of these like Jeep Cherokees. This is the main reason I did a video on a lot of these Grand Jeep Cherokees. They're too expensive. I mean, Jeep is not a luxury brand. I know the Grand Jeep Cherokees, they're sweet. They're very, very nice. But they're not able to reach the kind of consumers that they're wanting to reach with those particular vehicles, meaning that they're not selling very many of them. So I think I would avoid Jeep for the most part altogether until they just start getting crushed, because the prices are just too high. Another thing, you want to check insurance on any Kias or Hyundais. I know that they just paid out for the whatever lawsuit for them being easily stolen. But that's not going to stop people going forward, even though it's in the news about them doing things about giving out these wheel locks and stuff. That's not going to stop people from trying to steal Kias and Hyundais. And even if it's not a model that is easily stolen, somebody who's trying to steal a Kia or a Hyundai, they don't know that. So they might still smash your window in, even if yours is one that can't be easily stolen. So I would avoid Kia and Hyundai. I don't like Volkswagen and Audi, but Audi. But I'm not going to. I don't know much about the newer ones, but it seems like every Volkswagen I've ever bought, the rear main seal is leaking. So older Volkswagens, I would stay away from those. I don't like those at all. Did I get them all?
I believe so. We're getting so many good questions here. There's no way we're getting to all of them. We might have to do a video just on some of these. I like this question. Are you seeing only certain brands with dealer markups? And that's
so surprisingly, Toyota has the least amount of inventory of all the manufacturers. But when I've gone to all these dealerships, I see the least amount of markups on Toyotas. And I don't understand that. I don't know if Toyota has put some kind of mandate down to its dealers or has threatened loss of allocation or anything like that. But Toyota, at least in my area, has been the number one dealerships that have not had these markups. Ford has had the most markups that I've seen by far. It's not even close. If Ford's number one, they're also second. Ford has had the most markups, and Toyota has had the least, surprisingly.
all right. Outsider Reviews. It's a name we see all the time. Do you still buy used?
Do I still buy used? I've never owned a new car in my life.
Me either.
Yeah. So even when my wife was pregnant, probably shouldn't even say this, but
Uh-oh.
we went to a new
Secrets.
car dealership and went and bought her a used vehicle off their lot. And even though I had access to an auction, the reason that we did that was because the really, really nice stuff that's got really low mileage, new car dealers are not going to send that to auction. They're going to keep it for themselves. So this is why I knew I was going to have to pay more to put my wife and my new baby into something that had low mileage and was going to be very safe. So we went and bought her a Venza. And I feel like we got a good deal. I feel like I was hard on them and negotiated. They probably made like crazy amounts of money on me, but I feel like we got a good deal on it. No, I would never buy new unless I just have money to set on fire, and I am nowhere close to that yet. So
yeah, and we did not finance it.
And we did not finance it. We paid cash for it. And I would not recommend ever. Always buy what you can afford. Don't have a car payment. That is my biggest thing that I want to use my channel for, is to just break this lie of, if you're an American, you have to have a car payment. If you want a nice car, you have to have a car payment. No, drive something that you can afford until you save up, and then move up, and then save up, and then move up, and save up, and then move up. And you'll be able to set yourself up for such a better future financially for yourself if you're not siphoning off this money from you by having a car payment.
I'm going to switch. I put a question up, but we're going to come right back to it. I just want you to know that, yeah, our viewers agree with me that you need to eat some of that honey that I got for you.
Oh yeah. I don't really like the taste of, I don't like overly sweet ridiculous stuff.
Anyway, right, I'm working on him.
You're about to hear something nasty come out of my nose here in a second.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I understand your opinion about maintenance, insurance on cars. Could you outline what you do to afford unknown issues?
I have, so even when like me and my wife were not doing as well as we are now, early on in our marriage, we always had some kind of cushion. So you always, something's always going to come up in life, whether it's something with your car, something with health, your hot water heater is going to break. You need to have a cushion built in of money that you don't even think about. So I would say if you're starting out, I know Dave Ramsey says $1,000. Right now, I don't think that's enough. So if you can save up probably $2,000, $2,500 and just have it sitting in a bank account, a separate bank account, open a savings account. It's not for the interest. It's just so it's in a separate account. You throw it in there and you literally forget about this money. And the only reason that you would ever touch this is in a emergency situation. Something breaks that you cannot afford to fix right now, and it's going to stop you from getting to work to be able to make more money to feed your family. That's what I would recommend to do, and that's what we did. You just have to put money aside and just pretend like it doesn't exist, and you have that cushion back there. So when something like that does come up, then you don't have to tap credit cards. You don't have to go into desperation mode because you have that cushion. And that's, I think a lot of people will go into emergency debt when an emergency happens, because they don't have this cushion built up. And that can get you in a lot of trouble because you make really bad decisions when you are desperate. So you want to do everything that you can to keep yourself from being put in desperation mode.
I completely agree. And there are going to be expenses that come up on a car, and you can call them unexpected. But, I see comments all the time about, well, stuff's going to start breaking. Well, I mean, then you have some money set aside for it. It is expected. What's unexpected is exactly when and what. So that's true of everything in life. There are going to be some expenses come up. So an emergency fund is a huge deal. And having some money set back means that if something happens, it's really not that bad when you've got that money set back. So it means don't go shopping, don't go out to eat, don't do those things until you've got that money sitting back so that you don't have to be stressed out when something goes bad.
Yeah, and work your butt off. Right now is the easiest time that we've ever had in history to be able to just make money. Making money is easy. You can deliver food. I mean, you don't even have to have a job where you have to put in a set schedule. You can literally get off of your job that you have, and if you're feeling good, you can deliver food for 6 hours and make you some side money. It's so easy to be able to make money right now in this country that there's no excuse for you not to be tackling debt, to be able to put some kind of cushion back, just because money is just so easily obtained right now. And just don't be lazy. Go after it. Get after it.
I agree. Let's see. I like this question. Did you ever work as a car salesman before opening a car lot?
I did not. So my resume. Oh, let's see. Let's go back. So I worked at GameStop when I was in high school. Then I went to work at Sears while I was in college, and I was a TV salesman. I remember selling tube TVs. I sold tube TVs at Sears. And then after Sears, what did I do then? Oh, I went and worked at Papa John's. I delivered pizza. That's Papa John's is probably the best and worst job I've ever had. I loved going out and delivering pizzas, just driving my car and going to the different places around the area. But like dealing with the cleaning and stuff on the inside was terrible. And then I worked as a server. I would recommend anyone who is young, be a server at some point, just so you can appreciate what servers do for the rest of your life. And so you actually tip, because it is something that I just think everybody should have to go through. And then from there, I quit that job and started buying and selling cars.
Let's see. We'll go for a short one here. Will Toyota prices go down?
Toyota is going to have the hardest time of any other manufacturer of having their prices correct. They're going to be the last of any. You cannot go out and find a brand new RAV4 right now. You cannot go out and find a brand new Venza. You can't go find a brand new Sequoia. They're not out there. So Toyota has limited its production. It has said for the last few quarters that it's still dealing with a chip shortage issue. Whether you believe that or not, the fact remains that in America, there's limited supply of Toyotas, and that is going to keep the price of Toyotas elevated until something changes. So Toyota is not going to be the place you're going to get a deal for a very long time. Oh, we got some money. I see some money. Thank you, Homie Talk Podcast.
He said, just wanted to say thank you for providing the info that you do. Keep providing that good content. It's incredibly helpful. That's great to hear.
Thank you so much for the donation. We appreciate it.
Let's see here. What's next? Here's one I don't know about. We might need to look into this.
Just went in
I've been a bit out of touch this week. So
yeah. I saw this. So this is good news for Ford and for EVs. I don't understand I need to read the actual statements and everything I was doing. But if Tesla is teaming up with Ford on this, I think it's actually a bad move for Tesla, because they want to squash out all of their competition, and Ford happens to be pushing to be big in the EV space. Now, I understand Elon Musk is his drive to push the world to EVs, and that's a great directive to have. It's very noble of him, and if he's doing that just to try to expand the radius of the EV marketplace, then good on him. But as far as a business decision, I don't think it's great for Tesla. I need to read more about that to see Tesla's actual thoughts behind this, if it's even been released. But this is good for Ford, potentially not great for Tesla. I know one of the big problems with a lot of these EVs is, you just can't find anywhere to charge them. So Tesla's got the biggest amount of reach as far as any kind of charging stations or anything like that. So good for Ford, maybe not the best decision for Tesla, but I need to read more about it.
My buddy is thinking to get out of his truck. Is it better to dump it at a small loss now, or will he lose his butt if he waits?
I would lose it. I would sell that thing so fast right now if he's trying to get out of it. Even if he owes some more money on it, figure out how to get to the break-even point of it. Tell him to go deliver pizza at night, go deliver some food at night, get to that break-even point so he can sell it and then not have to worry about. Now, if he can sell it and then maybe get a personal loan, I don't want him to take out more debt for it, but if he can get out of this truck, sell it, and have a small personal loan left over, and just have to pay that down, that would be my advice to him, because I want to see him get out of that truck before prices really start to come down. And I could be wrong. I just caveat for everything that I say. I could be completely wrong about prices. What I see and what I interpret from the market, prices are going down. That's exactly what I see. But if I'm wrong, they're not going to spike from here. So he has minimal risk to the upside of losing some profit he could have made from prices going down. I mean, going up. But I think the risk is definitely to the downside. We have way farther to go down than we do have to go up. So my advice to him is to sell it as quickly as possible, and to get out of that payment and get out of that loan that he's in as quickly as possible.
And just a time check. We've got about 5 minutes left.
Okay, and just to let you guys know, when we're done with this one, we're going to do a members-only chat, and I'm going to be able to be a little bit more free about what I get to say in that, because there's going to be a smaller group. But if you want your question answered, we have a small group of members right now. You will definitely be able to get your question answered if you join us in that members-only chat. We're going to do it probably 15 minutes right after we end this chat. So go to our main page, hit join, and join our community. We'd really appreciate it.
David has asked a couple of times. I've been trying to get to it, but this is another one I don't know about. What do you think about Ford cutting out the negotiable part and sticking with MSRP?
Ford doesn't have any control over that. So whenever Ford puts an MSRP on a vehicle, they send it to their dealer, and then the dealer has free reign to do whatever they want. If they want to add $100,000 dealer adjustment, they can. I know Ford has threatened these dealers with, if they catch them jacking up prices or whatever, then they're going to start cutting allocations. They're going to punish them or whatever they need to do. But nothing's going to hold up in court. And two, they need these dealers to take these vehicles, because they're not selling as many. These dealers aren't, so they can't keep pumping them. So they need as many dealers as possible to take as many vehicles as possible. So Ford is not going to do anything about it. And none of these other manufacturers are going to do anything about it, because they just need these dealers to take these vehicles. As much as it's hurting Ford's image, and as much as it's going to lose them customers, Ford is a publicly traded company. They live and die quarter to quarter to quarter to quarter. They have to make their numbers, and they got to make them right now. If they start cutting out dealers, they're going to take some big losses, and their shareholders are not going to be happy.
Got a new member.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome. Joel asked, would you buy a used car from a franchise dealership if they don't let you get a pre-purchase inspection? Seems odd.
No, I wouldn't buy any used vehicle unless I could have my mechanic check it out. So even in the case where, like, me and my wife went to buy our vehicle from a brand new, it was a used vehicle. Now, if you're buying a new vehicle, all these new vehicles, they should be good to go. You don't need to get those checked out. But if it's a used vehicle, a couple years old or whatever, problems still can happen within a couple years of being driven. So yes, I still want you to get this vehicle checked out. I would assume probably a lot of franchise dealers are not going to allow you to do this. But if you say, look, I want to buy this vehicle, I'm happy with the price that we've negotiated on it. I've drove it. I think it's great. All I want to do is have my mechanic give it a once over. If it checks out, then I will absolutely buy this vehicle. I would assume a lot of these franchise dealers, if you talk to the sales manager, whoever you're dealing with, if they know that information, they know that you already have your money lined up to be able to purchase this car, I think they're going to let you take this vehicle as a loaner and go get it checked out by a mechanic if they know that you're a serious buyer and that you're going to buy this vehicle as long as it checks out.
All right, we are right at time. I'm going to put another question.
All right, one more question, and then we got to switch over to the members only.
Susan asked, I recently asked you about salvage titles. Also, can you comment on rebuilt titles? Are these cars insurable? So usually, it depends on the state. I know in North Carolina, they're fine to have insurance on them. You can have full coverage, whatever. But rebuilt titles is very similar. Once you see a salvage title, it's typically
if it's back on the road, it's going to have also a rebuilt brand on it, because that just means that it was salvaged at one point and now it's become roadworthy again. So the work has been put into it, and now it's been registered through the state. At least in North Carolina, this is what I know. Every state's going to be different. But after a car has been wrecked and it's salvaged, for it to be put back on the road, it has to be rebuilt. So a lot of times when you see a salvage title, it's also going to have a rebuilt brand. And I think that is our time. So everybody, if you want to, well, my wife's put up a finger. We got one more.
Yeah, it's not a question, but it's just crazy. I want everybody to see it. Ed Fenn said that his Jeep was totaled last week. I hope you're all right. I hate to hear that, but he just said that he bought it for $36,000 in 2015 for new, and his payout was $40,000.
Yep, that's what's happening. So you are actually lucky for this. But what people are finding, because the prices have gone up so far, is that if it was the case that you bought it last year, then it would be completely flipped, and it would be probably a much bigger difference than what you're actually receiving for that. A lot of people are underwater on their vehicles, and if they're finding themselves getting these vehicles totaled, they're finding out that the insurance is not going to cover what they actually owe. So I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad that you actually profited on the other side, and it's just a testament of how crazy this market is. And when you go and buy another car, I hope you can find a deal, but it's going to be hard. So anyway, that's our time, and we're going to hop over to a members only chat in probably about 10 minutes. So look for that.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. You got to end it, or I got to end it?